The biggest update yet, Skyrim's largest upcoming mods. This is from, dude, some days ago. Wow. The reason we're watching this, chat, is that I'm a massive Skyrim fan. I love Skyrim to death. I can't wait for more mods. I want to play them all.
Skyrim got together and made their own E3. Creation ModCon just happened, and it was over 9 hours of first looks at some of the most exciting mods on their way to Skyrim, highlighting the biggest projects on their way to Skyrim
so
with
cool
a
how they're
variety
still
of
modding
special
Skyrim after
features
10 years,
mixed
man.
throughout.
These
If you want to
people
check
are
out
so
the
amazing,
full
man.
stream or the mod projects, I'll have a link to everything down below, but considering I think all of you will be able to watch through all 9 hours, I want to highlight some of the coolest things that were shown off during this. Starting off with the various Beyond Skyrim projects. If you're not familiar with Beyond Skyrim, it's going to add in most of the content of Tamriel as an explorable area, but at the time of Skyrim, featuring their own unique stories and quests, and of course, the ultimate goal being you could just walk across the entire continent of Tamriel. And with that in mind, let's first take...
Dude, how is... what? They're building the entire continent of the Elder Scrolls in Skyrim. Are you fucking kidding me? How is that possible? PCs are gonna crash, right? What? How's it even possible?
Take a look at a familiar location with Beyond Skyrim Morrowind. Here they show off a Dagenfell quest, this being one of the main town hubs in the New North, where we're helping one of the innkeepers with their bathhouse. We get a few shots of the town overall, which looks absolutely
I cannot
amazing.
Wait for this, dude.
And similar to how we'll see a bit later on with Skywind, you can see how here in Beyond Skyrim Morrowind, there is a massive visual overhaul compared to Morrowind. And of course, it's been 20 years since the release of Morrowind, so that's not completely shocking, but Skyrim's engine gives the devs a lot of possibilities when it comes to all kinds of enhancements. We can see in this town there's just a lot more verticality visible, towering structures all around this nice market area, but even further, far more detailed interiors that feature just a wealth of decorations and items scattered all around. The town itself is of course coastal and has some unique aspects with that, such as the unique fishing crane that is shown off with completely custom animations here, and we can see via the dialogue that some of the other NPCs will have some reactions based off our player character choices. We're Denver here, and the Nord is initially reluctant to help us as a result. But one of the pretty cool new things being added with this mod are skill checks. We have an illusion skill check to use mind tricks to pass through this dialogue. They describe how throughout this mod there's going to be a variety of Fallout-esque skill checks, and this comes into play a bit later on in the quest again when fixing a broken pipe. We have different options based on our skills or what we want to roleplay as. During the quest, we were working with some of the locals and the
So these guys are literally building the entire...
And this will be a broad...
Wow, that's insane,
We're just looking at some minor items, but it immediately shows you that...
That must be the biggest map ever. Like, what? Dude, I want to show you guys Tamriel real quick. Tamriel is ridiculously big. Look at Tamriel. They made that entire thing in Skyrim. Do you guys remember how big Skyrim is? Dude, what? How in the world is that possible? That's a bit mind-blowing, I gotta say. Atmora is really sick. Isn't Atmora in the northeast with the dark elves and the volcano?
Here are truly frozen over. Beyond Skyrim Atmora is pretty unique in that there's going to be a core focus on survival, more so than in the rest of these mods. Not wearing clothes outside is deadly, as well as they mention you have to seek shelter at night as things will simply get too cold.
Oh man, I cannot
here
wait.
Are frozen over, but a special magic allows these remaining Atmorans to survive, at least kind of. During this new showcase, we get a look at the Southern Bay region in Atmora. We can see how civilization here has largely fallen, made very clear by the toppled ship and of course destroyed dock, as well as shortly thereafter we get a brief spat with a not polar bear that does visually look pretty great, but more explicitly we get a look at some of the nearby tombs, and we get to see how the previous inhabitants, and specifically the warriors that were once here, are now new enemies with undead Atmorans. So pretty cool weaponry has been implemented for this mod. It definitely has a more unique design. It feels like it represents the age of this area a bit more clearly.
Shit, man.
He also
That's
mentioned how the ancient Nordic armor being worn by these Atmorans is merely a placeholder. Something much cooler is coming in the future. And as you venture deeper into the tomb, you can see more and more of this unique tile set, which of course has been created for the region to make it feel unique. And I feel like for me, it actually gives me more of an unsettling feeling compared to what we have in Skyrim already. And speaking of unsettling, shortly thereafter we get to meet a subglacial giant that has been driven mad and diversity.
Okay, let's go for Skywind.
The Skywind presentation was actually pretty cool, as we got a direct comparison of Vardenfell in Morrowind and Skywind.
So this is the complete remake of the Elder Scrolls Morrowind, one of the best games ever. I played it in school. I literally couldn't pay attention in class, and... So
during this entire segment of the stream, you could just see in real time how much better things will look with Skywind, and it's quite a massive upgrade. Like I mentioned before, Morrowind is 20 years old now. They show off a bit of the town of Cool, which didn't have a ton of significance in Oblivion originally, currently outside the Boat to Souls theme, but one of the pretty cool parts about Skywind is they're not only remaking what was there, but actually applying several upgrades and improvements when applicable. Like with cool, they're going to be adding a lot more here.
Morrowind was an insane adventure as a kid. That was such a good... I remember being in biology class and I paid no attention. I just wanted to go home. It was the final day before summer vacation and I was just so happy to go home and play Morrowind for 6 weeks.
In Skywind, the NPCs will have actual schedules and interact with the environment or even some idle commentary. All of that was missing from Morrowind. One of the awesome parts of this mod is it's going to be a true extension.
That's the future. I said that. That's why Cyberpunk is so bad. Every single NPC in RPGs nowadays should have a schedule. They should feel human. They should go to sleep. They should meet other people. That is just the future, man. You can't, in my opinion, you can't have a game nowadays anymore like Cyberpunk where the AI is just like, hi, I'm sitting here for 24 hours doing nothing. You can't do that anymore, you know? That's, to me, what killed Cyberpunk.
Of that base game. They're remaking the original content in systems, but also adding
I remember the first game ever that did that for me was Arcanum.
We get to speak to a veteran guard in the gameplay, and this actually does show some of
every single character in that game had literal story and shit, man.
Veteran is really steamed up about the Caldera land grab.
Do you think if we find a way to monetize mods, you think we'll help modders? I don't know anything about that. I think, dude, if you make a mod like this, you should get money for that. But there's like legal stuff there because you're making money, even though the rights are always with the developer who made the engine and the main game. That's in the TOS of these games. I don't know how that really works. Maybe it would be great if they could work with the devs and the devs are like, hey, let's make a deal. We are putting your mod on the Steam Workshop for like $9.99. 50% goes to us, 50% goes to you. Something like that. That would be great, man. Something like that would be very nice.
They say that Lalu is
Bethesda's actually doing that, right? Yeah. They did something like that.
To me, this sounds pretty flawless. From there, we transition over to Nisus, which is a bit more work in progress. But you can see from Morrowind, there is a lot more detail, from the roads to the buildings.
They did that and
even just your general surroundings have so much more going on. They show off the No Pants quest that is originally in this location, and this is actually a rather big feature coming with Skywind, a reintroduction of the modular armor system that appeared in Morrowind. So of course, you can do things like power pants.
Fuck the people. Have you seen my Enderroll streams? Enderroll is a legit, massive $60 game for free. These people deserve 10 to 20 euros. And if you're against it, you're an idiot. Look what these people are doing. 10 years they rebuilt this game. They're not supposed to make some money?
But perhaps even more importantly, mix and match your armor pieces. In Skyrim, the armor system's a bit more blanket.
Bethesda gets their share. These people get their share.
You apply only a couple armor pieces that cover almost your entire body. But in Skywind, of course, you're going to have a much larger degree of control. Do you want pants? Do you not want pants? Do you want to have something on each shoulder? Do you want to have
mix and... let's talk about what I give a shit about. Skyblivion. I'm gonna stream the fucking shit out of this nude.
Well, with Skyblivion, this being one of the most well-covered mods in all of Skyrim, and this latest showcase is going to show off quite a bit of the environment as well as the quest and some of the cool new features coming with this one. It begins with some simple gameplay of running around this world space, taking out some creatures, but things here just look absolutely phenomenal. Skyblivion is one of those projects that, more so than almost anything else, just continuously amazes me with how good this world looks. And I think a lot of this is to do with the weathers and the greenery here. It's obviously a huge contrast to Skyrim. Of course, much better than Oblivion, but also much better than Skyrim, even despite the two being on the same engine. And this will extend to some of the assets as well. We can see some of the weapons and armors being recreated for this mod, and some action from them against some of the enemies in this world. I mean, even just the shield that they're using looks amazing to me. Incredibly high detail on both the interior and the exterior side of that shield. And there were many moments during the stream and gameplay that were incredibly photo-esque, like when they were walking up to this inn. It's just a casual moment from the live stream overall, but this looks like something out of a trailer, and I think it's a true statement or testament to how good this world overall looks. During the stream, they work their way over to Bravo. We get a look at some of the recreated guard armor. You can see there are definitely some changes from the original guard armor, but it's clearly a huge upgrade. That's why I really like the direction they took this. Bravo itself looks incredible, and I think the wood textures are really the big standout feature here. Comparing these in Skyblivion to Oblivion, there's just a very obvious and clear upgrade. But also, as you're walking throughout the city, you can see the foliage and improvements on full display. There's just a lot more greenery, and it looks a lot better. We need to look at the recreated quest caught in the hunt, where we're tasked with finding a missing axe and go to the wonderful looking Fort Grief. And during this quest at Fort Grief, you'll quickly discover things are not as they seem. As the quest progresses, we get a preview of the beautifully redesigned steel cuirass. But then also a look at the iron cuirass and iron armor more clearly overall that is coming with this project. The texture work from this project in particular is a pretty massive standout, I think. And you can see the consistency from the different armors to weapons and shields, all of it just looking really good. And then we transition to what I would say is another E3-esque scene with just how good this all looks and comes together. Yet this is...
I don't remember much. The one thing I remember is I was a kid and I played Morrowind and I played an assassin and there was a dwarven city in a mountain or something and I killed a guy and then I took his room and then I would spend hours decorating that room. I will put my daggers on a shelf and I will put rubies everywhere and then I will save the game and I will leave and come back the next day and then all the items were somewhere because there was this bug when you place items they just throw around like in Skyrim. I remember that.
Gameplay from a live stream. It does continue to describe how their fort kit is made up of 1,300 pieces. This giving level designers an immense amount of freedom, and you can see this as we traverse through this fort. Skyblivion forts overall...
It seems also so important nowadays that when you make a video game, you have a good modding engine that people can do mods for you. Look at CK3. CK3 is a piece of shit, but once the mods are coming out, CK3 is going to be fucking insane, man.
Should actually be a pretty big upgrade with a lot more detail compared to Oblivion, this being afforded by the fort kit. And one of the pretty interesting parts about Skyblivion when compared to some of the other mods out there is this is really a combination of three things:
this guy's not playing a
remaster and a remake all in one. The quest we're seeing, like this quest right here, is literally ported from Oblivion. Many of the things will be identical, and they even describe how, although it's rare, some quests almost work out of the box via this port. But after porting over, a lot of these quests do require further enhancements, so that's where the remastering comes in. They're making things a bit smoother and tighter, fixing things when applicable on quests. But then, as with all of these mods, there's a lot being remade. The armors, the weapons, and even some aspects of this world being completely recreated from the ground up. To take some questions and clarify how the Skyblivion project likely won't have pre-releases. The most notable pre-release to date being beyond Skyrim Bruma. But when it comes to these massive remake mods, it's not quite as simple or easy to chop up a part of this and be a lot of additional work to actually have a pre-release, which is better spent just getting the final product ready. Although they do have a current goal of getting the entire overworld finished by the end of the year, which is very exciting. But also throughout this, as I mentioned a bit earlier, they had some special showcases for some of these smaller or standalone mods that are coming and not necessarily a part of...
Anyway, okay, what else is coming? Thras.
Game. We first get a look at the Foreign Lands of Thras, another DLC-sized upcoming mod on its way to Skyrim. This new look focuses mostly on the world space of the mod, but that's definitely...
But is this a mod that you use your main Skyrim character in? Or do we start from zero?
Not a problem, as this is...
Look at the level design. These people are so fucking talented. You guys remember the Enderwall level design? Mashallah. These people are so fucking talented. And they make zero
world that the developers are crafting. We see towering structures to new tombs to explore being implemented. But
that's
also
so cool about the Elder Scrolls, right? The world levels with you. That's the beautiful
items
concept.
Are being added with this. Definitely a dark undertone all throughout several of these. Thras is a location that never fully appears in an Elder Scrolls game and is known as the Coral Kingdom of Thras, which is definitely represented in the world spaces, and you're going to have these incredibly odd slugman necromancers. They have a long history of attempting to wipe out all of High Isle, and they're technically known as the Slowed and look completely unique. Overall, it looks like this is going to be a really interesting and distinctive world to enter into, and really unlike anything else that's being worked on for Skyrim right now. Olenveld was another one of the special features. This is actually relatively close to Skyrim. It's a day sail off the coast of Winterhold.
Right?
It previously was home to a bustling city, but as we can see from this gameplay, things have definitely changed. There's another one that has a completely unique and distinct landscape created for it. Throughout this trailer, we can't see a single human as far as I can tell. It looks like a very isolated and almost scary experience. At points, it almost gives me Soul vibes, which will probably be popular with some of the most popular mods being Souls themed, but it also looks incredibly enticing. This is one of those projects that's been a work in progress for a while now. I've been even covering it for several years, and at the end we get a proper 2023 release date, which is very exciting. And the last special feature is of Ezrian Yet, which is going to be a new lands mod taking place off the coast of Tamriel. The island itself is home to Black Harbor, which we could see being designed during the stream as concept art, and I feel like this time lapse is actually pretty cool. I think a lot of times, in particular with these mod projects, people take the concept art for granted, but we can see here just how much effort, time, and other things are going into this. The city of Black Harbor will feature a lot of Imperial influence, and the project has been underway for around 3 years now. The lore for this location is fairly barren.
We have a lot of Skyrim coming up. My god, I'm fucking in, dude. 2023 and we still get Skyrim content. How fucking epic is that, dude? What are you still doing here, mate? Jeez. Well, if you want to see more, click these videos. Have fun. Looking good, boy.